Hi, my name is Joshua Peer, and this is my video presentation on love for the class of Love and Sex. So, to start, personally, I believe that love is a choice. It's not something that you can just like wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm in love. But it's something that I think you have to choose over and over again in order for it to actually mean something. Like when you're in a relationship with somebody, you can't just say, "Oh, I love you," and that be it. That's not love. That's just words that you're choosing to say, which can be used to like manipulate or control a situation, which isn't what love is. Love is a choice that you have to make constantly. You can't just wake up one day and be like, "I love you." Next day, "I don't love you," etc. It's a choice that you have to constantly make with the person that you are in love with in order for it to actually hold meaning. For example, in a relationship that I've been in, I couldn't just say I love you one day and then like that would last forever. I had to prove that I loved her. I had to prove that every day I chose her, I chose to love her, and like that's something that I value a lot personally. I think it's really important that you actually do that because like I already said, you can't just say I love you and walk away. That's just not how it works. Love is a choice that you have to constantly make. It's not something that you can just say once and be done. I'm repeating myself, sorry. But it is definitely a choice, and it is a very important choice that you have to make. Every moment of every day, you have to determine, do I love this person or not? And if you don't, you have to find a way to either reignite that love, or you can even, or if it comes down to it, you break things off. But love is a choice that you have to make. Simple as that. It's not just a feeling, it's not just a notion. It is a choice that you deliberately have to make regardless of the circumstances. Now, to further expand on that, how do you like know whether or not you're in love with somebody? I honestly think it's trial and error. I think that no matter what you do, you have to try trial and error. Like, you can't just wake up one day and be like, oh, I know what love is. I'm in love. It takes time and it takes a lot of effort, a lot of actions, a lot of meaning for it to actually be like, true and real. You can't just wake up one day and be like, I know what love is. I've always been in love. Love is such a simple thing for me to understand. I've been in it. I know it. Like, no, it's something that you figure out through trial and error, through relationships, through people, through family, through friends. There's been times where I've been in relationships and I've been like, do I actually love this person? I don't know because it might have been the first time I ever thought I was in love, so I couldn't tell you right then and there was I in love or not. That's not something that like I could just say right there definitively in the moment. But as time went on, as the relationship grew, as people developed and matured, you were then able to determine whether or not you actually are in love. And that's something that is, I think, is very important because, it's not something that you can just wake up one day and determine. It's something you have to really try at and like get to know the person at and really like work yourself there into the manner of like knowing what love is. And I think it's really important that you go through these trials and errors because you can't just wake up one day and say you love somebody. I'm sure many people do. I'm sure many people have those moments, but you don't have like a definitive answer for that because you've never been in love before. Now, I've been in multiple relationships over the years, and I remember I remember my first relationship. I was very much so like, oh, I'm like very early on. I was like, oh, I'm in love. I love this person. Like, nothing's gonna change that. And then when the relationship ended, I realized I loved part of them, but I wasn't really in love with them because I didn't know what love was. I didn't know how to like act and be in love. I didn't know anything about love. And then as other relationships came to and left, and like I matured as a person and I really got to experience relationships more in depthly and for longer periods of time, I realized I may have loved that person, but I was not in love with that person. And then other relationships came to where I was like, hey, I'm in love with you. Now I'll be super blunt. The most recent relationship I was in, they day one, day two, I thought I was in love, but I didn't know until a month in that I was actually in love. And so that's why I think that like love is trial and error. You don't just wake up one day and you know it. You have to go through trials and tribulations in order to determine whether or not you are in love and whether or not you actually love somebody. Now, uh, another the other point is do I believe in unconditional love? I do to an extent. I think unconditional love is a wonderful thing, and I want it to be true, but I don't believe that it is 100% true because I don't think you can be 100% unconditionally loving somebody because there's so many nuances, so many aspects to people, especially like family and friends. Like, obviously, everyone should love their family and like love their friends, but there's moments and times where like loving a family member can be hard because there's things that they do wrong, things that they don't man up to, or things that are just inherently a problem. And so having unconditional love for somebody, I think that means like accepting everything, their flaws, their mistakes and everything, and loving them regardless. But at the same time, the severity of the mistake, the severity of the situations that they may have put you in or the issues that may have arise could break down that unconditional love into situational love and things like that. Like, once again, I'm going to go into a personal aspect, but like, I have divorced parents, and I don't think I love either of them unconditionally to an extent. Well, maybe, but I because they've made mistakes that have hurt my siblings and I, or they have made mistakes that have hurt themselves as parents, and that's tough. It hurts. It's a tough thing to do. So that's where I stand on love and unconditional love, and whether or not love is a choice and all that. So yeah, thank you.